Nobody wants to see that, do they? They want to see somebody beat up somebody else. That's a form of bullying, isn't it? Hey, listen, look, he comes from Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart is one of the best trainers ever in the world. So, the guy knows his job, and you know what it is? All trainers need maximum credit, and I give credit to any trainer. It's not an easy job, this. So, no, the man's obviously talented. He knows his fighters.
And his dad's coming from. However, it's Tyson's decision, and if he's going to come back, he's fighting in a couple of weeks' time. I'd much rather he does it now than sits around for 4 or 5. Does it? His powers won't be the same. He's not got a lot of miles on the clock. We will see. I think the big thing with John, what upsets John, is the training.
2.5 mil. I'm looking at the cameras. 2.5 million sterling. SAP. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to look at you. I don't like you.
In a real fight, it's panic. The panic really sets in. If you get hit in a real fight, when you get hit in sparring, it's like, you know what, the worst thing that can happen, I get a bit embarrassed. But if you get put over in the fight, it's like the end of the...
Peter Fury has absolutely blasted John Fury, calling him a complete disgrace to the family as the drama surrounding the Fury name continues to explode. Furious over John's constant chaos, wild outbursts, and repeated demands to fight Carl Froch, Peter makes it clear that he sees the entire situation as embarrassing and damaging. In his eyes, John is no longer acting like someone protecting the family legacy. He is acting like a man addicted to attention. Peter believes John's constant interviews, loud call-outs, and unnecessary controversy prove he is more interested in creating headlines than showing...
Whether he can take him or not, he shouldn't be taking him, and he knows that. But when he's on his A game and he boxes, he can box, he ticks all the boxes, trust me. And he's exciting as well. And he does the right thing with this level of opposition because he's walking through.
Respect for Tyson Fury, the sport of boxing, or even the family name itself. Peter Fury draws a clear line between real fighters and people who simply create noise. He makes it obvious that Tyson Fury is still a top...
I'm an ass kisser.
Yeah.
I'm a straight man. I'm a straight man.
But you're serious about it though, aren't you?
Serious. Serious. I'm a Christian man in the name of Jesus. I'm as serious as that. Don't bother about fighting me. Pay me 2.5 million, we'll fight next week. As soon as possible. I don't need it.
Level fighter. Still sharp, still dangerous, and still one of the most exciting heavyweights in the world when fully locked in. According to Peter, Tyson at his best is focused, disciplined, and completely different from the circus that often surrounds...
Attention-seeking, and he's getting more attention now, but yeah, him anyway. Tyson Fury, Makvadov. Good little fight. Tyson's nice and relaxed. He's coming back. Again, after retiring, he's back out of retirement. We kind of knew it was going to happen. He seems in a good place. He seems quite happy. He's not out of shape. He's in his usual shape, which isn't great shape in terms of physicalities to look at. He's not good on the optics, but he's in shape because he's not 28 stone.
His father. That contrast is what makes John Fury's behavior look even worse. While Tyson earns attention through what he does in the ring, John seems desperate to grab the spotlight through chaos, arguments, and unrealistic fight talk. To Peter, that kind of behavior...
But he's saying that Tyson isn't himself anymore. And I tend to agree with John Fury. He's certainly not at his best anymore. I mean, how could he be after everything he's been through and stuff like that? So I tend to agree with that, right? But he was saying words to the effect of that the Wilder trilogy
only tarnishes the Fury name. Carl Froch has also poured fuel on the fire, openly branding John Fury a bully and exposing what he sees as pure attention-seeking antics. Froch has mocked John for constantly demanding big money fights, acting like he is
just so confident in himself. He would gas inside of 2 rounds. 2 rounds, but if he even made it 2 rounds with Carl Froch, he would gas probably in the first round. He's 60 years old. I'm not saying he couldn't hobble about for 4 rounds or something, but he would be gassed inside of 2. Because the way that John runs...
some major attraction despite having no recent ring credentials to justify that kind of talk. Peter Fury clearly sees Froch's criticism as further proof that John is dragging the family into complete nonsense. Instead of being seen as a respected boxing figure, John is increasingly viewed as a loud distraction who keeps pulling serious boxing into sideshow territory. At the same time, Peter Fury continues to praise Tyson Fury's potential return, pointing out that Tyson still looks relaxed, sharp, and capable of dominating when he is truly focused. Froch has also admitted that Tyson appears to be in good shape and mentally switched on, which only strengthens.
There's Froch who's been paid to fight. He's used to getting money for knocking guys out. I'm sure if they put enough knocks in front of Carl Froch, in front of Carl Froch, then he might rise to it. But he ain't going to rise to it if there's no money on the table, if there's no end goal. If you want to punch up, you can go out in the street and have that any day of the week.
The idea that the former heavyweight king still has plenty left if he wants to make another run. That makes the situation even more frustrating, because while Tyson's comeback should be the main story, John Fury keeps forcing the attention back onto himself with public drama and outrageous demands. Liam Gough adds another layer to the situation by highlighting John Fury's apparent doubts about Tyson's comeback. He points out that John has questioned whether Tyson is truly at his best after everything he has been through, especially after the punishment and emotional strain of the Deontay Wilder trilogy. Gough suggests there may be some truth in those concerns, given the amount Tyson has
I'm sure Tyson prefer that not to be said, and I'm a big believer. You keep you haven't got to tell the world what you got to say to your family.
Endured physically and mentally, but the problem, once again, is how John handles it. Instead of keeping those concerns private or offering support behind the scenes, he turns them into public tension, which only adds more pressure and creates more instability around Tyson at a critical stage of his career. The Wade concept takes a much harsher approach when discussing John Fury's own fighting claims. He completely tears apart John's confidence, arguing that if he ever actually stepped into the ring with Carl Froch, he would be badly exposed within minutes. According to that breakdown,
he's alluding to Sugar Hill Stewart, the people around him. I assume that's who John's talking about here when he says, people are acting like his friends and they're acting like they got his best interests, but they don't, and he's not listening to me anymore, and he should have been doing easier fights, which, again, if Tyson's not fighting for a belt, I understand the need to fight a contender to get back to the belt, which is why I think it's kind of tough.
John would likely gas out quickly, struggle to handle Froch's pace, and fail to survive more than a round or two under real pressure. The message is simple and brutal. John Fury talks like a dangerous man, but against a real, disciplined fighter like Froch, the difference in conditioning, timing, and experience would become painfully obvious. It paints John as all talk, obsessed with appearing tough, while real fighters prepare in silence and prove it when it matters. That same contrast is reinforced by Duke McKenzie, who makes it clear that there is a huge difference between a true fighter and an attention seeker.
The thing is there's nothing more left in life for these boxers. When these great boxers what's completed the game and they've got everything, what else can Tyson do? There's only so much yachts and sailing, and there's only so much flying on holidays, and there's only so much fucking whatever a normal person thinks is good you can do before you're sick.
In Mackenzie's eyes, Carl Froch represents everything boxing is supposed to be. A proven world champion driven by preparation, discipline, and the desire to compete at the highest level. John Fury, on the other hand, is described as someone who constantly postures, chases attention, and creates chaos without the substance or self-control to back it up. Mackenzie's criticism is devastating because it strips away the theatrics and focuses on the reality. Froch built his reputation through hard work, elite performances, and real achievement. John's reputation comes from shouting, overconfidence,
listening to John because he is straightforward, and people always say to me, "Oh, he's a nutcase, he's an idiot, he's kicking off." I mean, not really. I says that's the kind of public John Fury that you see. But if you've dealt with him, off camera and behind the scenes over the years, he's a different type of fella. But he does get emotional when he's doing interviews, and quite rightly so, because it's his son. And I don't care what anybody says. When you're in the position where John Fury is, and he's kind of come through with Tyson all the way through the amateurs, everything else. No matter what anybody says, a proper father is always going to have the son's back, no matter what. And in boxing, there's so many sycophants hanging about, waiting to take advantage of you.
And drama. Frank Warren shifts the conversation back toward Tyson Fury's future and makes one thing very clear. Tyson's comeback is Tyson's decision alone. Warren stresses that if Tyson returns, it will be because of passion, hunger, and love for boxing, not because of family pressure or outside voices. That matters because it draws an even sharper contrast between Tyson and John. Tyson is viewed as a champion making calculated decisions based on his own drive and readiness. John, meanwhile, is increasingly viewed as a source of distraction, constantly interfering and creating noise around a fighter who should be allowed to focus on his own path. Warren highlights Tyson's discipline, physical readiness, and mental clarity, reinforcing the idea that true champions control their own careers. Again, the Wade concept.
Whatever, just I think he's a bully, John Fury. I think he's a proper bully, and he talks about fighting man. I don't buy none of it. I don't buy it.
Pushes the criticism further by exposing what he sees as John Fury's poor judgment and obsession with control. He argues that John often surrounds himself with the wrong influences, creates unnecessary distractions, and gives advice that may not always help Tyson's long-term interests. Meanwhile, Tyson appears to be taking a smarter approach, building momentum through careful planning, pacing his return properly, and making sure every move adds to his legacy instead of damaging it. That contrast is powerful. Tyson represents patience, professionalism, and long-term thinking. John represents chaos, ego, and emotional overreach. It is a reminder that even great fighters can be hurt by the wrong energy around them. Shane Fury offers another important perspective by speaking about the mentality of champions.
Embarrassed as well, so yeah, when that happens for the first time in a fight scenario, it's a totally different kettle of fish. And it's not nice when it happens in the gym, to be honest.
David, let me ask you then, because listen, he's only had 13 professional fights, Moses Atoma, and the last time he fought was last year, in August. For someone who's had so few little fights, is he out there often enough, do you think, or do you think that the amount...
Champions like Tyson Fury. He explains that when a fighter has already reached the top and achieved everything, the motivation changes. It is no longer just about money or fame. It becomes about purpose, challenge, and legacy. That is where Tyson separates himself from the noise. Unlike John, who often seems obsessed with theatrics, money talk, and public confrontation, Tyson appears to be chasing something deeper. Shane's comments reinforce the idea that true champions are motivated by mastery and meaning, not by the need to dominate headlines. Dominic Ingle brings a more emotional angle, acknowledging that John Fury has always been fiercely protective of Tyson and played a major role in guiding him through the amateur years and the early stages of his career. But even with that history, Ingle points out that John's emotions...
You repair them in private, not in the public domain. John, on the times that I've met John, I've found him to be engaging and charming. But there's other times when I've seen him on, whether it's an act, or created or whatever, it's boorish, it's unpalatable, it's unpleasant. When you headbutt Ukrainians in front of Saudi royalty and behave yourself in a way that's not particularly appetizing, you get judged by it. So with due respect to the fact it's a scoop for these guys, I'm not hugely interested in John.
Often spill into public chaos. His loyalty is real, but so is the damage caused by his overreactions, outbursts, and constant need to make everything personal. Instead of helping Tyson stay calm and focused, those emotional explosions often turn John into a spectacle, overshadowing the professionalism Tyson needs around him. Darren Till is even more ruthless, calling John Fury exactly what many critics now believe he is, a bully hiding behind macho posturing and ridiculous demands. Till says John talks tough, acts hard, and tries to intimidate people, but lacks the skill, discipline, and real ring credibility to back it up. Unlike men like Carl Froch or Tyson Fury, who built their reputations through training, execution...
People around me never have and I never will, because I'm a psychopath. I can't have 1 million people around me, because it doesn't work. I just have the same old people I've always knew, that's it. I'm not interested in making new friends. I'm not interested in what the next man's got. I'm not interested in what the next door neighbour's doing. Don't care. Keep myself...
And actual performances, John leans on noise, aggression, and theatrics. In Till's eyes, that makes him less of a feared figure and more of a figure of mockery in boxing circles. Finally, Eddie Hearn gives one of the most balanced but revealing takes. He acknowledges that John Fury once played a very important role in Tyson's rise, helping shape his mindset and development during key stages of his career. But Hearn also makes it clear that John's recent behavior has badly damaged that legacy. The loud interviews, attention-seeking antics, public feuds, and unrealistic fight demands have overshadowed the value he once brought. Hearn's view paints John as both a former influence and a current distraction.
Tyson, I think, used his dad to keep him involved and as a infiltrator, you know, someone that can shout and scream and cause a bit of chaos and unrest, you know. And I think like he doesn't need that in this fight, so he might make a use.
Someone who once helped build Tyson's path, but now risks becoming one of the biggest obstacles to the calm and focus a champion needs. In the end, the message from across boxing is becoming impossible to ignore. Tyson Fury is still seen as a focused, elite-level fighter capable of returning in serious form if he stays disciplined and committed. Carl Froch remains respected as a proven warrior with real pedigree, real toughness, and real ring credibility. But John Fury is increasingly being viewed as the exact opposite. A loud, chaotic figure whose constant drama, unrealistic demands, and
show your father respect when it's needed. Keep going. I don't need you. I don't need him and his millions. I need nothing off him. I wish him well, but he's put those people before me, his blood father. That's hurt me like you wouldn't believe. So, they can jog on.
Yeah.
And I mean that.
Attention-seeking behavior are turning the Fury name into a sideshow. While Tyson chases legacy and Froch stands on proven achievements, John keeps pulling the spotlight toward chaos. And in the eyes of many, that is exactly why he is now being called a disgrace to the family. Simon Jordan has completely ripped into John Fury, accusing him of turning private family tensions into a public circus and embarrassing the Fury name in the process. Jordan's criticism is sharp and direct. He believes John Fury has crossed the line by constantly airing personal grievances in interviews, dragging family issues into the media, and creating unnecessary chaos around Tyson Fury's career.
Called me a fake and a fraud, fake hard man. I will show him how much of a fake hard man I am. He's the one that's shying away from the...
Instead of acting like a wise father figure or respected boxing voice, Jordan says John comes across as a man driven by ego, attention, and the need to dominate headlines. While John tries to present himself as a straight-talking hard man, his repeated outbursts only damage his credibility and make the family look divided in front of the entire boxing world. Jordan's point is simple but powerful. Real respect in boxing is earned through action, achievement, and discipline, not through emotional interviews and media stunts. That is exactly why the contrast between John...
If John Fury stuck it on Carl Froch in his space, I think he would chin him immediately.
Really? Even live on Netflix?
Yes. Because these guys, they don't allow...
John Fury and Tyson Fury look so extreme. Tyson is focused, professional, and fully committed to the work. John, meanwhile, seems obsessed with public attention, constant drama, and forcing himself into every conversation. According to Jordan, that behavior does not strengthen Tyson's legacy. It distracts from it. The more John tries to make himself the story, the more he undermines the real fighter in the family. That same contrast is reinforced by Tyson Fury himself, who continues to project focus, independence, and total discipline. Tyson makes it clear that he refuses to be distracted by the circus surrounding him, whether it comes from critics, media noise, or even family drama. Unlike John, who appears to thrive on chaos and confrontation, Tyson surrounds himself with trusted people and channels all of his energy into training, preparation, and performance. That mentality is one of the biggest reasons he has remained such a dominant force, both physically and mentally. Fans can see the difference. One man talks, the other performs. One creates noise, the other creates results. Shane McGuigan adds another fascinating layer to the discussion.